Hi, I'm Kris,
And I'm Lorri.
and this is Midlife Group Chat, the podcast where we talk about what we're loving, learning, and letting go.
Think of this as the kind of conversation you have with a friend about books, life, friendships, travel, TV, and anything else we can think of.
Not as experts, but as women really living it.
So grab a coffee or go for a walk and hang with us for a Midlife Group Chat.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to Midlife Group Chat. For this second episode, hopefully we've learned a few things and we'll make this one even better than the first one. Be sure to follow us so you don't miss an episode if you aren't already subscribed. And, we haven't really solidified yet how often we're going to be publishing. I'm thinking it'll be one or two, maybe a week in the beginning, but we'll just kind of play it by ear and see how things go.
That's the joy of being in our do what we want era. We can publish as we feel like it and not if we don't. And midlife is awesome.
Exactly. We'll make it work for us. So it's good. All right. So how's it going, Lorri? What have you been up to?
So again, finally the construction is done and it definitely highlighted again we talked about a little bit last time, and that is the enormous amount of stuff. And so as I am unpacking boxes, I am again realizing I need to purge. Another thing that maybe some of our listeners that will resonate with some of our listeners is um, dog care, pet care while you're gone. So I have my younger one still living with me. And even when I tell her, I'm going to be out of town, you need to watch our lovely dog, then she'll be out of town. And then I have to find a pet sitter. Then we're fighting about who's paying for it. And our dog is getting older. She's a 10-year-old lady. And so that's super frustrating because theoretically, one of us should always be here. And then again, still looking for where my next move is and figuring out what 2026 is going to look like with regards to that. So, what's up with you?
Um, well, not as much as you. I've had kind of a quiet few days, which has been really nice. We put away Christmas and getting ready to start the new year. So I've got my Ozempic pen. I took my last dose last night because I'm doing the point 0.5 now, I guess. But there's still 0.25 left in the pen because when I started it up again, I'd been off of it long enough that she wanted me to start with the lower and then move up. And so it was like 0.25 and then 555 and then 0.25 left. So I think that when I get the new one, I'm going to have to do like half of this, and then I'm just going to be in this like cycle of always having a little bit of leftover forever, unless I want to bump up, which I probably don't. But yeah, so that's what I've been thinking about. Like, how am I going to like use this last little bit, or can I just take it like in a week and just take it in a week, wait like 4 or 5 days, and then do the full dose from the new one? I don't know these things. Also, I need to order my new one because I haven't done that yet. Now that I'm getting them at Costco, I got to remember to like order the refill or whatever. But yes, that's my excitement there.
Very exciting.
All right. So, one of the things we're going to talk about today is career moves midlife. Lots of things always changing. For me, I've had like 5 jobs in the past 5 years. And that's not because I jump around a lot, but I've been with startups, and startups are really fun and exciting, but they're also very unreliable. And I've been involved in many, many layoffs. The most recent one I think I mentioned previously was right before Christmas, right before I left for vacation. Stopped my insurance before I really was ready to not have insurance. So all that kind of hit at the worst possible time. But one of the things that it makes me think about whenever I'm in this situation is like multiple sources of income and how important it is for people to not just rely on one job, because one job comes and goes. And I mean, I can't imagine if that's all I had and then it was gone. Like I think you're kind of a one single income, single source of income, right? And that's got to be scary, right?
It's so scary. And it like really limits you and it makes you afraid to make changes, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, like the other thing, and we can talk about this later more in detail, is it's also like a great time where you can have a second stream of income if you're willing to put in a bit of time. It's not for everybody, but like like the possibility of having something else is something that some people should look into.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've always been, it's kind of a joke between us and with all my friends that I always have like 20 things going on. I've always got lots of balls in the air. And I have these book money coming in. I have some consulting stuff usually going on. I've learned there was a time during COVID where I was making products and selling them on Amazon and like, trying that out. I've been involved in real estate here and there over the years. I've considered if I were more crafty, which I am not, I would consider like making some sort of cute Etsy craft and selling those. I bought a Cricut thinking that I would like make stickers because I keep buying stickers. I still don't know how to use it. My husband and the boys know how to use it and they've made stickers, but I still will go to Etsy and buy a vinyl sticker for things because I don't know how to use that damn machine. Um, but it's so important for people, especially as we're kind of in this stage of life where we can't really rely on our employer to always be there for us, and we're maybe not, no matter how experienced we are, how much value we bring, we're at the top of the earning scale, like we're being paid the most in whatever that field is, and they can bring in other people to do it for a lot cheaper who can learn. Maybe they're not quite as good, but if they're good enough, they're good enough. And so, I just really hope that, I always love talking about this, and we can do a whole segment on just like side hustles and side gigs and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But I think it's just really important for women in particular, but all people to have a few things going at once so that you have something to fall back on. If the main gig goes away, are you still going to be able to pay your bills? Are you still going to be able to eat? It's pretty scary, and I think a lot of people have probably experienced that in this past year. Government jobs used to be so secure, right? And this year that
Um,
changed
that is
and
not the
it's
case.
no
Mhm.
longer the case. And so, yeah, just very interesting. But so you, Lorri, in your 40s had a pretty significant career change. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So everything that all the points you're making are so valid. And like for me, I, joined the government. I joined the Air Force and then switched over to the government. And basically, you kind of you fall prey to having job security when you work for the government. You just simply do. And as much as I loved my career, I had an amazing career. You kind of wonder as you are navigating through and getting more senior and, you know, learning different things, you see, especially in STEM. So I am an engineer and I do cybersecurity. Um, you look around and you're like, could I have more freedom? Could I have more opportunities? Could I have more flexibility? Better work life balance, more money if I didn't work for the public sector. And so, you know, there's kind of these pivotal moments in your career with the government. It's like anybody who works for the government for over 2 years, you get something, right? Something when you retire. But like the big moments are at the 10-year point, at the 20-year point,
Mm-hmm.
and at the 30-year point. So, like I mentioned in the last podcast, I was at this sort of 25-year point. And I guess I was 44 at the time, right? 2020. So 45. And this situation happened with my dad, and COVID really had weird stuff going on in the government we're not going to get into, but they were very restrictive about when you could take leave and who could leave. And I was a leader, and they were like, you can't take leave, blah, blah, whatever. But obviously, like for most of us, you have to choose your family first. Like your job is your job, but when it comes to family,
I don't think you mentioned what you're talking about with your dad.
oh, so my dad had cancer. He was diagnosed with cancer a second time. And so I wanted to go down and help my mom go through this diagnosis with him, meet with the meet with the oncologist, and just be there. My mom is not in the medical field, not that I am, but when these things happen, and this is the second time that something had happened with my dad, I just wanted to be there, right? So anytime, that's kind of our job, right? Like in our midlife time, if you're fortunate enough to still have your parents around, which I am, and I'm grateful for that, like that's kind of my role. I'm the closest child, and I felt like I should go be there for this situation. And not that that was the final straw, but it kind of was one of the straws. So I had to take some time off. They made me take my personal time off, which I had no issue with, after giving me some grief about going. And I was like, well, if I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to go ahead. And the little birdie on my shoulder said, just see what's out there. Because a lot of people had been leaving the government, especially in the technology fields, for like, I would say like the last decade. A lot of changes have happened with compliance and things like that, and people we're just exploring other avenues. So I've had a lot of friends who are already in the private sector who are always like, well, if you're ever looking, if you're ever serious, like send us your resume, let us know. So I did, and I interviewed with a couple of companies at the time and ended up with the current company that I'm with. Um, they gave me an offer. And that was the other thing that was mind blowing to me, which I know. So everybody that I was in the government with, like in the Air Force, et cetera, everybody has kind of like gone over to the private sector. I had my friends that were in the public sector with me that stayed, but some had left. But all of the people I grew up with pretty much were in the private sector. And you all told me all of this. And I did not know until I went on my own journey. You get a job offer like immediately. When you're applying to the government, it can be a year, 18 months before you get a job offer. I got job offers in a day, 2 days, and it was crazy. And they were like, can you start next week? And I'm like, start next week? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it was absolutely the craziest experience I've ever had. And I'm like, no, I can't. I like have to put in like at least 30 days. Like, I can't. This is a big decision. So that was mind blowing. I'm like, wow, the private industry moves quickly. If they have a job opening, they have a job opening and they want you now. Actually, they wanted you the second they decided that they wanted you.
Right.
So I was like, oh my goodness, like what the heck am I gonna do? Like I had to make a decision. And that's the other thing. When you have multiple job offers, like, that's it. They want to know now, and they want to know like what can they do to be competitive against whoever you're working at. So number one, it felt very good. It felt very reassuring that I was worthwhile, right?
Wanted.
Wanted. But on the other hand, it was like an enormous amount of stress because I took a job down in Georgia. In the last episode, I talked about that. That's why I'm in Georgia. It was supposed to be a three-year assignment. I was supposed to head back to Maryland. I was going to leave that assignment and it wasn't up. And so I had to make a decision, like, what would that look like? I didn't even know what that would look like. And I felt like I was going to be disappointing people because I'm a people pleaser. So that was really interesting. So obviously I took it. I chose one of the jobs and I took it, and it was the right thing for me to do for sure. But so different. It's such a different experience in the private sector. Just everything, the momentum in the you can be a grown up. Nobody wants you to punch a time card, and they don't care if you're going to lunch. And then going from, I worked in a cleared environment, so I couldn't take my work home. Switching from that to remote work was like Alice in Wonderland. Things felt the same, but it was so vastly different. Like I would tell my boss, okay, I have to go to pick up a prescription. He's like, I don't care where you're going.
Yeah, you don't have to tell them everything.
And I would be like, okay, I need to take this specific amount of time. And he's like, just put it in ADP. And I was just not used to not having somebody like accounting for all the beans that I was doing in the day. It was so crazy. So all of that to say, it was so scary. And I love to talk about doing things that scare you, and you do. And doing something like that when I was, so if I had stayed in the government, you can retire at 57. So I didn't have a ton more time. Like I had like not much more. And honestly, if I would have stayed, I would be already full retiring. But like I said, I have a retirement. I get a retirement. It's just at a later date. So I think it's 60 or 61. They do the calculation. So here's my guidance. It is never too late for you to follow something that your mind is telling you. Like, listen to the little voice in your head and don't be afraid to try things. You'll surprise yourself every time. If something that I've learned, and I have talked to so many colleagues and so many friends and so many people about it, if you always do what's safe, you never grow. You're never going to grow. And there's almost nothing that's not reversible. Like, say I had done this and it was the worst decision and not the best decision. I could have gone back to the guy. Like, you can
Yeah.
always do something. Like, you can go back to what's familiar, maybe
It's
not
not
exactly in
permanent,
that
permanent.
job.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're so fearful of things that don't even exist because we tell them that they're scary, and it's just not really the case. And so I would say, don't wait for permission from someone else. If something in your gut, something in your heart, something in your head is telling you to make a change, it's probably for a good reason. So do it. Um, I can tell you right now, my uncle said something to me so profound because he was a workaholic and I'm a little bit of a workaholic. And he said, don't do that. He said, if something happens to you, you don't want written on your gravestone, here lies blah, blah, blah. They were really good at their job. That's not what we want to take to the grave, right? We want to look out for our heart and our passions and do the things that drive and motivate us. And so if something that you loved maybe doesn't, you don't love it anymore, or if you're just like, I don't fit in here anymore, or it's not filling my heart, my love tank, maybe it's time for you to consider that. And again, never underestimate yourself. Like, I think we are literally our worst critics. Another thing I heard one time, somebody said, people are rooting for you. That's the human nature of things. If you go to an interview, they want it to be worth their time. They want it to be worth your time. They want you to be successful. So if you go in there and you're like, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, then that's the result that you're going to get. If you go in there and you're like, they're rooting for me, so I'm rooting for myself, and you try. And again, I'm not saying this is perfect science, but like, some of it has to do with how you bring what you bring, your intention that you bring. So take care of yourself first. Prioritize yourself. And the other thing I think that's worth talking about, like, I didn't have really a choice. I was a single income. I got divorced quite a long time ago. I was so terrified of going in the private sector and getting laid off. Like, we're from the Bay Area. That happens all the time. Like, that is commonplace. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get fired and then I'm going to have no income. And so that fear kept me, I would say, probably maybe a little longer than my peers, just because I didn't have something to fall back on if it didn't work. But again, life will work out. Like, at the end of the day, if
Yeah.
you,
You're a smart girl. You would have figured
yeah,
something out.
I would have
But
figured
yeah.
it out. And so, you know, my kids obviously are totally grown now. So I would say I'm not the greatest example of like throwing all caution to the wind, but I did. And it worked out really great. And I wouldn't change it. And I've learned a lot. I think that that's the other thing, like you were talking about, when you get to a point in your career and you're kind of at the top. I was 100% at the top of my game with the public sector. I've been there a long time doing the things I was doing. I was very um, like aware of what my skills were. I have learned so much coming over here, and I think it's made me better in my field. So, like for cybersecurity, I was so myopic on how I looked at things because of the way that the public sector looked at that. specific field. And so I've grown and I've learned and I'm learning. I continue to learn. And I love it. And I think that it's important for people to have something that counters what they are experiencing. So like
Yeah.
we'll bring some of our friends on that have had major career changes too, that were like within their career field. So like I'm still doing cybersecurity, I'm just doing it differently. And it's definitely made me better, I think, at what I'm doing, and I've learned so much. So yeah, so that's kind of where I am. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a good point. It's just that, we're not done.
Right.
Um, and I know for some people they think like, oh, but I want to retire soon, and that's great. You
Right.
can retire if you're
Right.
in a
Right.
position to retire. That's awesome. But still, what are you going to do? Like, even if you don't
Right.
have that job, you want to do something, right? You don't want to just sit in an armchair for the next 20 years and rot. So
Right.
having
Right.
having something that interests you, and kind of following those passions. Maybe you're not doing it for money anymore, or for
Right.
benefits anymore, or for to put your kids through college anymore, or some of those other things that drove you earlier in your career when you sort of had to have a very ambitious focus. Now you can do the things that you just love and that you just want
Right.
to do and that you enjoy. I mean,
Right.
um yeah,
Yeah, it might be
surprisingly
that.
I can
Maybe.
have a lot of fun with spreadsheets. It's very
Yeah.
cathartic for me sometimes,
Right.
and it's a
Right.
weird thing, but I like it.
Yeah. I think that that's the thing. It's like you made a really good point. It's like there's a point where we have to, and there's points in your life where you have to, and you can't be very, you know, willy-nilly with your choices.
Yeah, adventurous, or
Right.
yeah,
Or
spontaneous.
take risk. Yeah. But this time, you're the middle of your life. Hopefully, many of our listeners are to a point where they can explore some of that, risk taking or creativity or passion seeking. And like you said, maybe you're done with the grind. Maybe you want to teach it to the next generation. I think that there's just so many opportunities, and like listening to your heart and listening to your, you know, sort of
Yeah, being open.
passions, yeah, is like so important. And this is the time, like as your kids are getting older or old, and you don't have like, and you're not maybe retired, or maybe you're seeking retirement, and but if you have had a big full career, more than likely you're going to be bored in life. Although we can talk about in one of the future episodes how you can fully embrace hobby life in retirement, like my
Yes.
dad. Um, he's a bit of YOLOing, so we'll talk about that later. But
Yes.
yeah, it's very, very interesting. It's a great time if you're willing
Yeah,
to take some risk. Yeah.
totally. All right. Okay. So one of the next things that we were going to talk about today is like kind of the evolution of friendships. Like we've been really lucky to kind of keep a strong friendship for so long, but that's not always the case for a lot of people. They lose touch. They get so focused on their family or their careers, or they move and they just kind of lose touch. And sometimes it can be hard to like find new friends or to reconnect with the old ones. And I think that that's something that doesn't get discussed very often either. Like you and I are lucky, we have lots of different groups of friends, and we have lots of different levels of social interaction with people, the people that we travel with versus the people we have lunch with versus the people we only talk to, work people, like all those different kinds of groupings. But for some people, especially in this kind of like remote world, I think they don't really have a lot of you know people anymore. It's becoming more common to not have those relationships.
Yeah, I do. I definitely could see that. Especially during COVID, I think that was so isolating for people. And then everybody was remote, and then a lot of people transitioned to remote only. And then, so it is hard. I think, one thing that you and I have talked a lot about is, um, it's okay to try to rekindle friendships that have kind of dissipated. Because life is crazy. Like every stage of life, nobody gives you the manual on this. And so, there's times where, there's challenges with kids, or there's challenges with your spouse, or maybe your marriage is ending like mine did. It's like you never know. And sometimes friendships are the unfortunate, you know, thing that gets lost in those. But life changes and people change. And sometimes you can rekindle that. If you had a friend that, or friends that kind of, you don't really know why you aren't really talking anymore. It probably is from life, or even friends that you had a falling out with. We all continue to evolve as humans. Like we learn, and things that maybe pissed us off in our 20s doesn't piss us off. Like we don't have a lot of things that piss us off anymore. It's like you kind of realize like the people that you share interests with and that you share like that are easy. Like for us, for example, I had my kids first and then you had your kids. Our kids aren't terribly far apart in age. So we kind of like couldn't do a lot together. Like we stayed in touch, but like
Yeah,
we
during
couldn't
those
do a
years.
lot
Yeah.
with the kids. And I was all the way across, on the other coast. So, but now once I left the public sector and I have so much opportunity with remote work. I can literally work anywhere. As you've been traveling, I've been able to just piggyback on some of your trips. And so if it makes
Yes.
sense and it's something that you can do your thing during the day, I can work remotely during the day. And then at night we can go to dinner. Like we're super great travel partners because we're like,
Yes.
we know each other so well. We are super easy. Like you do
And
your thing.
independently entertained.
Yes. And so, but just being together is like so valuable for
Yeah.
us. So, like, finding that kind of like rekindling a friendship that maybe you can do that with if you are remote and you're like, oh, I'm lonely, I don't have anybody, but like maybe you can do that together. Maybe you can go work remote
Yeah.
together somewhere. I think that the world has definitely changed and given some opportunities. And I know not everybody is as lucky as that, right? Like not everybody gets to travel with their job, not everybody gets to work remote, but I think being creative in friendships, and being open-minded and forgiving and giving grace, can definitely help, fix some relationships if you want to, or if you are like, I don't like anybody that I used to be friends with, fine. There's so many things that you can bond with people on. Like the military and then working in a kind of transient area like I am now where so many people come and go. Like I've met new people that I'm very good friends with that I never would have met, but they're in the same kind of point in their life. They have similar backgrounds. Like we just kind of like mesh. So I think if you are open-minded, and I know not everybody is extroverted, but
Well, that's where like this comes in, right? Zoom is
yeah,
so great. I mean, it can be exhausting in a lot of ways, and especially if you have to be on it a lot for work
yeah,
and you just feel like disconnected. But it's also a great way to reconnect with people. You are
100%.
still living on the other side of the country from
Right,
me, but as long as we
right.
can, chat like this, then
Yeah.
it seems like we're hanging
We're
out.
yeah, like we're hanging out.
Um,
And I think that people just need to take, advantage of some of these technologies now that we don't have to do them for work or for school or whatever. It's like, don't forget they're out there. We did a group, we did a ornament exchange with our friend group, and it was so fun. And we kind of all forgot like that was like what everybody was doing for everything during for COVID. And I think,
Yeah, we had like 5 states represented on this
yeah,
call
yeah,
that we haven't been able to do together unless everybody was in town, which never
right.
happened.
So we just did a Zoom and it was so fun. And like it does, like you can connect without being together. And I think that that's something that we kind of forgot a little bit about too. So take advantage of these things that still
Yeah.
exist. And you know,
And don't be afraid to just like, you know, send a quick text. Hey, how's it going? It's been a
yeah,
while. How are things? Are you doing okay? Check in with
yeah,
people. Even if it, I think that sometimes we feel like, oh, well, I haven't talked to them in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. Like it's too late it would be weird for me to reach out. No, they would love to hear from you. If somebody reached
yes,
out to you, I always try to put myself in that situation.
yeah,
If a random person that I haven't talked to in 15 years sent me a text and said, hey, how's it going? It's been a while. I would be so happy. Like,
Yeah.
Wow, so
Yeah.
great to hear from you. How are your kids? How is your life? What are you doing? Like it's just nice to connect, and somebody has to take that first step, right? Somebody has to be
Yeah.
willing to put their like discomfort aside and just go for it. And worst case, they don't respond. Their numbers change. You can't reach them. The email's different, whatever. And that's,
Right.
that'll happen. But if you can, if you're looking for some of the relationships that you used to have, maybe in your earlier days, and, like when the kids were all together and you had like the mom group or something like that you had a lot of fun with, but then as the kids grew up, you all kind of went different directions. It's okay to reach out to those moms again. They're in the same position, right? They
Right.
might be
Right.
looking for some friends too now that their kids are all gone, and
Yeah.
they would like somebody to go to lunch with. So yeah.
I think that is such a really valid point. Like, if you're thinking it, like, that's kind of why we want to do this podcast. If you're thinking it, somebody else is probably thinking it. And you probably crossed their mind. So be the friend that texts first. You don't have to be the recipient. Like, it takes so much. We spend so much time in our head convincing ourselves not to do things than just doing it. And like you said, what is the absolute word? They change their number, they don't respond. Okay, so that's fine. You won't even know why. It won't even matter. It, like having so many expectations about something and just try it, you just never know what can happen. I don't know. I did have a falling out with a friend that was a good friend, and we did not talk. And then one day, I'm trying to remember if it was her or I don't even remember because it doesn't even matter. But one of
Yep.
us said, "Hey, I miss you." That was it. And that just restarted.
Yeah.
And like everything that we were so mad and feisty about didn't really matter
Yeah.
because the second that that person reached out, then it was like,
That
okay,
was more important.
but
Yeah.
you still that person has a place in your heart. Like you were friends
Yeah.
at one time. So again, it doesn't have to be as dramatic as that, but like I said, you just never know. And if you are thinking it, they might be thinking it. If you are
Yeah.
wanting it, they might be wanting it. And so it's worth trying. I mean,
Yeah.
there's really nothing to lose. And then what's
Yeah.
to gain is that you rekindle with somebody that, like, again, we never fell out, but like this thing, you're like, hey, here's my trips. And I'm like, yes, because I had to say no for a long time. I was a single mom.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of money, and the public sector does not pay. And so I did have to say no, and I had to miss out on everything, and it was just impossible. And so now I don't have to say no, but like we're both doing,
So now you say yes to everything, which is great.
yeah, I do say yes to a lot, but I do need to manage. I do need to manage like the stuff. But again, you only have one life
Yeah.
to
Just
live. Yeah.
manage the stuff that yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to say no to the things you don't want to do.
Right.
And don't be afraid to say yes to the things that you do
Yeah.
want to do.
Or
Yeah.
invite somebody to do something that you think is great. So I
Yeah.
definitely have, I think both of us have been doing bucket list things because again, and you never know, maybe that bucket list thing is somebody else's bucket list thing. So that's how I ended up in Germany with Kris. Is she to our group chat, she was like, hey guys, I'm going here, anybody want to do this? And I was like, yes, I want to go to the Christmas markets. I'm in.
Yay.
Check. So we
Yeah.
did, and it was great and fun, and so just throw it out there, like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Worst case, nobody goes. I've been doing these
right.
a lot, and
And it wasn't going to
usually
hurt your
nobody
feelings.
goes. And
Yeah,
this time, two
yeah.
people came. Two of my
Yeah,
friends said
so
yes.
it
So
was
I'm like,
great. It
oh
was
my
so fun.
God.
And we made great memories. It was wonderful.
Yes,
So,
it was. It was really fun. All right. So speaking of fun and joy and happiness and all that stuff, um, you mentioned earlier, and I kind of talked a little bit about this too, about like letting go of junk, purging in the house, like doing kind of a spring cleaning, I guess, maybe a winter cleaning, and especially if you're thinking about moving across country or downsizing. I mean, that's a
yeah,
lot of years of accumulation and lots
yeah,
of people's worth of stuff that you've got to get rid of. And yeah, that's a big
yes,
task that you're looking at.
yes. Um, it is enormous. And it's funny. So, like I mentioned, I was moved here by the government. And so they pay for that. Anywhere I move now is on my dime. And so
Yes.
it's very,
One box worth,
one
one
box is
one
where I want to move.
pod
That's
or
all that
whatever.
I need, my treasures of the world. Um, but in all seriousness, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know why we think we need to keep this stuff. I literally look at these things and I'm like, now when I go to the store, I'm like, I don't know, I'm fascinated by all this crap. So we don't have a lot of stuff here. I got to go to the Container Store, which I've been before, but I haven't been in years. I love that
Yeah,
store. And I'm like, I don't need this crap. I went to my
I
cousin's
know.
and I had my car. That's never a good thing. And I'm like, oh, I can buy it and I can bring it back. But I'm like, no, we do not need
Yeah,
containers for things we're not keeping. You do not need this stuff.
exactly.
So, you just have to be strong and say, no. I'm trying to think of
Yeah,
a hilarious thing that I found. A great example is I have a giant armoire in my living room, and I had to pack up all my stuff because of this leak that was in my house. And I realized as I opened two of the drawers, I have not opened those drawers since I put this stuff in it 6 years ago.
yeah,
Why do I need this stuff? And you may be thinking, oh, I'm sure there were sentimental, wonderful things in there. No, they were not sentimental, wonderful. I had a taboo game, a
okay.
mobile taboo game,
Yep, yep.
battery dead. I had picture coasters with pictures in it, but you can take them out. I have not used those coasters. I had a ladybug, bumblebee, tic-tac-toe game. Why do I
Cute.
need that stuff? What is this? Why did I even put it in
Yeah,
that drawer? So basically, my challenge to anyone listening is like, if you are not using it, just get rid of it. Unless they can really decide if there's something sentimental to it. But why? Like I have so
yeah.
much stuff. And like I said,
So what are you going to do with those things? Like, did you put them back in the armoire when you
no,
unpacked? Are you going to get rid of them or what?
everything is marked in, but I have not been able because they finally
Oh,
just
okay.
put stuff. So I still have all the boxes in the guest bedroom downstairs. So as I go, that's why it's going to take me a bit of time. As I open them,
Yeah,
I'm not putting anything back that isn't something I like recognize and use.
yeah,
And the other thing that I'm trying to do is like actually, and I've read in all the examples you gave, like in the Swedish death cleaning and Marie Kondo and all of them, basically you need to group things together. Like you need to actually know how many belts you have, how many candles you have,
yeah,
how many spoons you have, because if you have 800 of anything, nobody ain't nobody need that many spoons. So that's the other thing. Like as I'm opening these boxes, I'm going to make the first decision is, do I even recognize this thing? If I don't
yeah,
recognize
yeah,
it, it's
yeah,
going. It's just going. But as I'm saying, okay, I do want this. This is something I'm going to put it together because they pretty much I had to pack up like 80% of my house. So like this is a
wow.
great exercise. Um,
Yes,
so then I'm gonna group it and then decide from there. And then hopefully this downsizes me by 80%. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I really truly, really, and this brings up something too, like for the holidays, it's like I watch so many videos of like just piles of stuff that, and I did it. I gave piles of stuff to my kids, but I'm like, I really wish that, but then I saw other things where people gave experiences and did that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that that's my goal, like moving forward, is for birthdays or events, unless they're like having a baby and they don't have anything and they need that stuff, or like there's something sentimental you want to get. Like, I think I want to try to do events. Like for
yeah.
my 50th, we went to Banff and did a hiking trip, and Kris came, and that was like not only was it on my bucket list, but it like exceeded all of my expectations. It was such
Yeah.
an amazing trip. And it's like, I will remember that forever. I will not remember my ladybug being
Right.
a
But the
chicken.
shirt somebody gave you
Yeah.
or whatever.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I just want to focus on, I think that's something I'm really learning right now. Like in this point in my life is like,
Yeah.
I want to make those memories and not collect so much stuff. So,
I think you were in a little bit of a different situation too because you got divorced when your kids were still pretty little. I
yeah.
would imagine had a lot of that like guilt, right? And
Oh,
so you did
100%.
a whole Christmas
100%.
at your house and then
Yes.
your ex did a
Yes.
whole Christmas.
Yep.
And so these kids like just had so
So
much
much
and
stuff.
yeah.
Yes. It's so true. I mean, that the divorce guilt, because my kids were young, it was real. And I didn't have a lot of money, but I was giving them
Everything.
a
Yeah.
big thing. And the thing is, I would say, even if you ask them now, like, do you even remember like what I gave? Do you remember those big,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Was
I
there
don't
a
even know.
special thing?
Right. I don't even know that they would. And so I don't know, like that's something we can definitely dig into in some of these
Yeah.
episodes, is
Yeah.
just that incredible guilt that you have, and that what how you try to make it up with stuff, and that isn't really, that's really the answer either. So
Yeah.
it's
Back in,
tricky.
so early-ish in COVID, I think maybe it was like spring or summer of 2020, so not too deep into it. I was watching like the Home Edit and Marie Kondo, and I think all that must have
Yeah, it all
aired
came
right
out.
around
Yeah.
that time. Yeah, 20, maybe it was 2021, but right around then. And so I hired a lady to come in, and she was a professional organizer. And my office, so I, right when you walk into my house, there's this big room with these wall, like built-in wall cabinets, and just so much trash. And like it kind of became our junk room. And I
Yeah.
mean, on and off, it still is our junk room. Um, but like literally what you said, she pulled every single thing out into a pile on the floor, like every
Mhm.
pen. And she had like this many Sharpies. She had like
Yes.
this many like
You will never
markers.
use
And
those
I'm just like, but
Sharpies.
they're all good. I don't like, but they're
I
nice
know.
Sharpies, of every color imaginable. Do I use any
Yes.
color other than black? No. But
No.
I liked
No.
having this many of them.
Yes.
And yeah, she went through all of them. I had like 7 staplers. And she's like, okay, pick the stapler you like. I'm like, well, okay, I like that one. All the rest gone. Like
Yes.
it's so, yeah. And it was really cathartic. And basically I had to just walk away. And I had to say to her, if there's something you're really not sure about, let me know. But otherwise, just get rid
Otherwise,
of
do
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't even need to see it. None of this stuff
Right.
is important, and just get rid of it. And don't even tell me where you're taking it. And like she told me she was taking it to a school to donate. I choose to believe that she took all of my markers to a
Yes.
preschool somewhere, and they
Yes. And they're
enjoyed them for
enjoying it.
years.
Yes.
Whether they went into the dumpster at her house, I don't know. I don't need to know.
You don't need to know.
But like it was really just so cathartic and kind of cleansing to have all that extra crap gone. And what we ended up doing is like before she got here, we put like went through the house, and like all the junk, the boxes that were unpacked, we never unpacked, or like random things we stuck in there too. It's like let her deal with everything all at once.
Yeah.
And when we opened up the cabinets, there was the container store containers and stuff, but it was
Yeah.
all like condensed and minimized and clean. Now, today it's not 100% like that, but it's not that far away. It's
Right.
probably 60% as good as it was when the day she left, but there are a
But at least
couple.
there's some underneath there. There's still semblance of
Exactly.
it, so you can
Underneath,
get it
there's
back
still
there.
some,
Yeah, there's
yes.
not chaos, like, random. At least you could see the tracks
Yes,
of
exactly.
the
Lots of and I mean, like you said, all the stuff that she put in little containers and boxes and stuff. I don't know that I've opened a single one of those in the past
right.
5 years since she put
I,
them in the boxes, but we weren't
maybe
really
those
ready
just
to
need to
get rid
go
of
to the
them.
elementary school. I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean,
exactly.
I do. It's like we think things are so cute and like I need another pen.
So
No, you don't.
precious.
I literally, like, speaking of pens, I have enough pens to last me probably the rest of my life. But I see cute pens and I'm like, oh, I need another cute pen. But you don't. And I don't know how to break that cycle. I don't know how to break the cycle of like, I need another cute pen. We just don't. We don't need another cute
I
pen.
know, and how often do you even write with a pen? Like I have one pen
Right.
that
Oh, that's the other
that I
thing.
like, and
Oh,
I use that one pen for the few
true.
things I write.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're so sad when that one pen is gone, but yet we have all these other pens. And
Yes.
it's so funny. And but it's so, and again, I don't know, maybe it's my kids, but my kids are like, I don't want anything. They want to purge everything. They want to throw it away, get rid of it. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect. Like they definitely collect stuff, but like I'll be like, why are you taking that to Goodwill? You don't like that? And they'll be like,
I know. It's so cute. Yeah.
why am I trying to push you to save
Yeah,
something you're
hoarding,
willing to
continued
get rid
hoarding.
of? It's crazy. So, um, yeah, it's so, I don't know. I don't know if it's leftover. I know, like, I read something that said our grandparents tended to be hoarders because they came from the Depression. But then what about our
Yeah.
parents? But then what about us? And
Yeah, exactly.
something's
Yeah. What's our
changed.
excuse?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, all right. Let's move
Yeah.
on to some funner stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
so what are we loving lately?
So okay, this is so I love Pilates and there's some background. So I know it's very buzzy right now, but I'm definitely not talking about this topic. We can talk about it later, but I got into a pretty bad car accident with my two daughters 4 years ago, actually. And I had never done Pilates, to be totally dead honest. Like I had heard of Pilates. I thought it was some version of yoga. And I went to a Pilates studio to an intro class with Club Pilates, which I know is also very buzzwordy right now. And I'm not going to lie, that class kicked my butt. It was like 30 minutes, and I'm like, everything hurt. Everything hurt. But I was like, but I could do it, but it hurt. So I took some private lessons because they had a special, and I'm like addicted to it. I have been doing it for 3 years now, going on 3 years, and I literally love it. So I'm loving it. I don't know how I would not have it in my life. So this one here makes me run with her. But I don't love running. I don't love running. So we are doing a run in 2 Sundays. Um, so I do still run, but that is not my drug of choice
Not what you
anymore.
love. Yeah.
Right. I love Pilates. Like it's the first exercise. And Kris and we can talk about all of the exercises we have done in our life. She was definitely, we've done them all. We did the step aerobics, and we did the Zumba, and we did the kickboxing, and we did everything. Um, and I liked it, but I have never been more passionate than I am about Pilates. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Well, yeah, that's good. I'm very happy to hear that. That is much healthier, a billion times healthier than my love at the
Oh, what are
moment,
you
which is
loving?
eggnog. Yeah, opposite spectrum of health.
Yes, yes.
Um, I bought one container. So when the kids were little, we always had Christmas milk eggnog in the
Yeah.
house, and and then over the past couple of years, I haven't really gotten it very much. But this year, I bought a big jug of it, and I didn't open it until like after Christmas, and I've just been drinking it, and I love it. It's so yummy and
But
sweet and
which one did you
delicious, and
get? Because I don't love eggnog.
oh, I love it. It's just like Lucerne, just regular grocery store eggnog, and it's not like light, and it's not like oat milk or anything. I mean, it's just like
I'm gonna
pure,
have to try
probably
it
by,
again.
I
I
mean,
bet it's so
I don't know,
funny.
egg and whatever's in it, but it's so yummy.
You're
So
so
good.
funny.
Okay, all right. And what are you watching these days?
Okay, so I just started this, but I am very excited about it because, like I mentioned, I'm sort of in this bucket list era. I'm trying to check off bucket list items, and so this is called the Life List. I'm only on the third episode, but I'll tell you the super high
I
level.
think I have seen it. You asked me earlier, and I said no, but now that I'm thinking
Okay.
about it, I'm pretty sure I
I'm
did
going to
see
tell
it.
you this shouldn't ruin anything because it's like the very first thing, and I think it says it in the summary, maybe even the preview. A woman's mom dies, and she owns a makeup
Yes,
company.
in
Okay,
order to get
so
her inheritance or
and she
something.
has to do her bucket list that she wrote when she was like 12 or something. So every time she checks it off, a bucket list item, she gets closer to getting her inheritance or whatever. And I don't know,
Yes.
I'm not ruining anything because I don't know how it goes past this, but
Yes, it's
that's
very
what,
cute. Yeah, it's good.
but I love it. I love everything about it. I don't really know the actors, except the mom is familiar to me. But so you liked it or you don't remember?
I did. I did like
Okay.
it. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm loving. And what about you?
Yeah. So I am watching this show that I think it's on Apple TV, and it's called Pluribus, like E
Okay.
Pluribus,
Okay.
Unum, whatever
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
money or whatever that is. Um, and it's basically about aliens taking over the planet and making everybody a pod person, except for like a couple people. And so this one woman who is not a pod person feels like responsible for number one, staying not a pod person, but also saving the planet, basically. But it's cute. Like it's a comedy, it's a drama. This
Okay.
is
I'll have to
basically
look
just
into it.
like there's a power outage, and all of a sudden, every single person is like a
Oh,
hive
is
mind, and
okay.
everyone's in the
Okay.
world
I'll
is
have to check it out.
thinking as one, except for like 12 people on the
Okay. I'll
planet.
have to look and see.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of a fun one that I've been enjoying. And as far as like learning these days, I'm um, I'm gonna try to learn to do well. Okay, so one thing that I've done one time, so I'm just learning
Yes.
is to like be present and chill and just do one thing, like focus.
Yes. You
Because
are
usually I have my computer, I've got the tvs on, I've got
100%.
people, I've got like 20 things at once, and so I'm going to try to just like focus. I got this cool little dot painting tablet thingy for Christmas, and on Christmas Day, I think I sat down and I actually did this little painting thing, and it was probably 30 minutes, but I didn't do anything else during that time. Like I just only did that. And it was kind of nice. I mean, I think probably in my mind, I was a little anxious about like, is this am I almost done so I can do the next thing? But, it's going to be a learning process. So that's,
So I love this for you, for our listeners. This is huge for this one. Um, we all are guilty of this. Like we're all guilty of while we're watching a show. This one can watch 4 shows at the time and write a book and have 3 computers open. She is very multitasking. So I
very,
love
yeah,
this. And
ADD.
actually, it's funny that you say this because I don't have the exact same um, goal, but like one thing I'm trying to do, because people keep asking me, did you like that show? Did you like that movie? I always am doing something and having TV on. And so I basically said to myself, if you're going to watch a show, watch it. Like just watch the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, because at your house, you guys do that. They all still sit as a family. So we were binge watching, what the heck was that show? Where
Like
they had to
Fire
guess that.
Country or
No,
one of those.
they had to figure out who was um the person that they wore the cloak and somebody was the
Oh,
bad
Traders.
Traitors.
Yeah, yeah.
So we watched Traitors, and we just watched the show, and I'm like, wow, when you actually watch a show and you actually sit down, you get so much more out of it. Now, granted, she doesn't always, she does with her
Yeah.
family. So when they're watching a show, and
Yes, I
I was
have
like,
to
so I
focus.
now that's what I've been trying to do. If I'm gonna sit down and watch a show, like I'm not talking about when you're just trying to like fart around
Yeah,
and
background noise, whatever. But
but if you're like interested in actually consuming and digesting a show, to just sit and watch it. And that I have been doing that.
who
And
knew? Yes,
well,
it
who
sounds
knew?
like
And I did.
groundbreaking.
Yeah, and I was like, because you would talk, she talked about shows all the time and movies, and I'm like, I don't even know. I think I saw that. I don't even know. It says I watched it. I see all of the things done on Netflix, but I don't remember it.
Yeah,
So that's so funny. So kind of the same. I mean, not that TV is so important, but I guess it does have to do with presence. Like if I'm gonna
yeah.
focus on something, I want to be present. And like I think that's so good for you to just do your little gem thing
I'm
that
gonna
you do.
try to.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. What about you? Are you learning
Yeah, so I'm
anything
gonna do
new?
face yoga with you because everybody keeps doing it. So we're gonna have to figure out face yoga. And then I'll say the other like learning thing, which we hadn't talked about before, but Maddie and I talked about. So my younger one and I, we're going to try to use our pressure cooker and our slow cooker to make
Oh, scary.
more. Yeah, well, so we have so many recipes, and for the listeners, my dad is a cook. Like that's not his job, that's his passion. So he's lived with me a couple times. My parents have lived with me a couple times, and so but he cooks all the time, and he has great recipes for soups and stews and like meats that you can cook and then just pair with an easy side. Because we one thing that came from COVID, and you know about this, is the DoorDash delivery and the Uber Eats. So we are super guilty of this, and we're like, we don't even like it. We don't even like our choices
Yeah,
anymore, and we can make half of this exactly the same and spend so much less. And the
and
other,
taste better.
yeah,
And yeah,
well, and the other thing that has happened is they're charging so much more for the same exact meal. Like, so a burger from McDonald's, which we don't usually DoorDash those easy things, but like, okay, let's say Carrabba's, something that would be $20 at Carrabba's is like $40 on DoorDash.
yes,
So I'm like,
yeah. It's
that's
crazy.
new. So what I'm learning, I can cook. What I'm learning is to do those time-saving meals that
The
are,
Instapot and
yeah, and
stuff.
I'll let
Yeah.
you know if I get any.
Yes, that's exciting.
Yeah, because I think you have all this stuff too, don't you? I think.
I do. We use the crock pot pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
my mom lives with us and she cooks a lot and she makes some of my favorite like pot roasts and stuff I love
Yes.
in the crock pot. But
That when I
I've
before,
been
yes.
afraid we don't have an Instapot and I haven't gotten one because I haven't really
I
wanted
know
to
you,
use it.
but if you
But
release the steam, if you use it right, you're fine. It's just you need to make sure you don't not do
that
that.
therein lies the yes, as long as you don't do it
Yes,
wrong, you're fine.
yes, yes, yes.
But yeah, so you try it first and you let me
I
know how it
will. I
goes.
will. My dad used it a lot. You know, you can make yogurt in an Instant Pot. Literal
I
yogurt.
know. I think you've told me about that. There's like so many recipes.
So
And
many
so
things.
yeah,
It's
I
not just the
definitely want to
pot.
hear
It's
about
not
the
just,
easy ones. I like one pot stuff, like throw everything
yeah,
in
yeah.
and
Cook
walk
it and then eat
away.
it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, okay. So before we say goodnight to everybody, is there anything you're changing or letting go of that you want to mention?
This is probably not going to happen, but I'm going to try to eat less sugar. Every year I want to eat less sugar. So I'm going to try to eat less sugar. That's it.
All
What
right, that's
about
good. That's
you?
good. Honestly, I don't really, I can't really think of anything at the moment that I want to. I mean, there's probably lots of things, but nothing that I want to commit to.
Yeah,
So
no
I'm
problem.
going to pass this time, but that's all right.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
yes. All right, friends. Thank you so much for hanging out with us again. Grab some glass of wine and indulge in some favorite book or one of the shows that we mentioned today. And if there's anything you want us to talk about in the future, please let us know. We are happy to hear from you.
And to catch up on any past episodes or contact us directly, you can visit us at midlifegroupchat.com.
All right.
Hugs
Bye.
and love.